Game 2 of the Eastern Conference quarterfinal series between the Boston Bruins and Toronto Maple Leafs had a little different outcome this time around for the Boston Bruins. The Toronto Maple Leafs with a 4-2 win here at the Garden in Game 2 on Saturday night. Game 3 is shifted to the ACC on Monday. Murph, what was different about this game for the Boston Bruins?
Well, I think what was different about this game for the Boston Bruins from Game 1 was that they didn't show up, in my eyes, really, not until the third period at least. And what was the same, though, for the Boston Bruins was a lot of what we saw through the last quarter of this season, where they just really had inconsistent efforts throughout the game, weren't tenacious on the puck, they weren't following through on hits, and they were almost waiting for the play to come to them. And Toronto did a good job in turn of dictating that play and really setting the tempo early on.
And certainly this is also indicative of the Bruins' regular season, where they would have a good game and they couldn't follow it up. They couldn't build on that momentum. And talking to players after the game, they basically said the same thing, that, hey, we didn't show up as we did in Game 1.
Yeah, it's true. And I mean, I thought in a way this game was, a lot of people talked about how important Game 1 is. Obviously, it's nice to get the opening win and sort of get one win under your belt to start the playoffs. But at the same time, I thought for the Boston Bruins specifically, this was a huge game, almost bigger than it was for Toronto. Toronto's going back to their own building. I know they wouldn't want to go back 2-0. But for the Bruins, they, like you said, they needed to follow up a 60-minute effort with another, something I don't remember them doing for a long time right now. And yes, we hear them say that they needed to do that. They say all the right things, but that's been the case all year, Joe. They're talking the right game, but they're not walking it.
And what happened here tonight, too, you saw that the absence of Andrew Ference had a big factor in this game. Claude Julien had to tweak his defensive pairings a little bit, and we saw guys like Dennis Seidenberg and Zdeno Chara split up, and I think that probably also had an effect on this game tonight.
Well, look, Dennis Seidenberg to me has been one of the most consistent defenders on the Bruins for a while now. Through the seasons, all the seasons he's been here, and especially in the playoffs, he seems to really pick his game up in the playoff and elevate it to another level. Tonight, he looked lost without Zdeno Chara, and I'm not saying that he needs Zdeno Chara to be Dennis Seidenberg and be the guy we've seen, but he looked lost out there. He got burnt on a lot of plays. He admitted it afterwards, and you're right. The defense looked out of sorts there because of the absence of Ference. And, you know, I've knocked Ference plenty of times, but, man, he played a great Game 1 in terms of intensity and physical play, and that's something that defense was missing for sure.
Well, we have a series here. The series is even at 1 game apiece with Game 3 at the Air Canada Center on Monday night. For James Murphy, I'm Joe McDonald, and remember, for all your Boston Bruins coverage throughout the Stanley Cup playoffs, check back with ESPNBoston.com.